In 2012, you bought a copy of Microsoft Office for $150. You installed it on your computer. It was yours. Forever. No monthly fees, no renewal reminders, no credit card on file. You paid once, and you owned the software until the day your hard drive died. Then Microsoft did something that changed the entire economy. They took the same product, the exact same Word and Excel and PowerPoint you'd been buying for decades, and turned it into a $9.99 monthly subscription. They called it Office 365. Wall Street called it genius, and every CEO on the planet took notes. Today, you don't own your music. You rent it from Spotify for $11.99 a month. You don't own your movies. You rent them from Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, and whatever new service launched this week. You don't own your car's heated seats. BMW tried charging a monthly subscription to unlock seat warmers that were already physically installed in the vehicle. Hardware you paid for, sitting right beneath you. Disabled by software until you paid again. The subscription economy hit $275 billion in 2024. By 2028, analysts project it will surpass $1.5 trillion. Every product you've ever purchased is being redesigned to charge you forever, and the companies doing it are making more money than they ever dreamed possible. How did we go from owning everything to renting our entire lives? And what happens when consumers finally break? The story begins with a man named Mark Benioff and a simple idea that would rewire capitalism. In 1999, Benioff founded Salesforce with a radical premise. Instead of selling expensive software that companies installed on their own servers, he would host it on the internet and charge a monthly fee. No upfront cost, no installation headaches, just log in and pay. Businesses loved it. The IT department didn't have to manage anything. Updates happened automatically, and the monthly fee felt tiny compared to a six-figure software purchase. Investors loved it even more. Traditional software companies sold a product and then had to find a new customer. Salesforce sold a relationship. Every single month, money flowed in automatically, predictable, recurring, infinite. Wall Street invented a term for this: annual recurring revenue. ARR became the most important metric in technology. Not profit, not innovation, recurring revenue. The message to every startup, every CEO, every boardroom on earth was simple: stop selling products, start selling subscriptions. The gold rush began immediately. Adobe was next. In 2013, they killed Photoshop as a product you could buy. The software that photographers, designers, and artists had purchased outright for over 2 decades became Adobe Creative Cloud, $54.99 per month. No alternative, no way to buy it outright. The old version you owned would stop receiving updates. Files created in the new version wouldn't open in the old one. Adobe effectively held your own work hostage until you subscribed. Customers were furious. Online petitions gathered hundreds of thousands of signatures. Professional photographers who'd spent their careers mastering Adobe tools felt trapped. But Adobe's stock price told a different story. It doubled within 2 years, then tripled, then quadrupled. Revenue became predictable. Growth became automatic. Every quarter, the money rolled in whether Adobe released anything new or not. That was the lesson every company learned. Subscriptions don't just generate revenue, they generate revenue that never stops. A customer who buys Photoshop once gives you $700. A customer who subscribes gives you $660 every single year for the rest of their career. Multiply that by millions of users and you understand why every CEO in America started asking the same question: how do we turn our product into a subscription? The answers got increasingly absurd. Peloton sold a $2,000 exercise bike and then charged $44 a month to actually use it. Without the subscription, their $2,000 bike became a very expensive coat rack. HP started selling printers that required a monthly ink subscription. Miss a payment and your printer stopped working, even if the ink cartridge was full. The printer you bought with ink you paid for would refuse to print because a subscription lapsed. John Deere turned tractors into subscription platforms. Farmers who spent $500,000 on equipment discovered they couldn't repair their own machines without paying for proprietary software access. A farmer standing in his own field, looking at his own tractor, unable to fix it because a corporation in Illinois decided repairs required a subscription. BMW launched their heated seat subscription in South Korea in 2022. $18 per month to activate heating elements already built into the car you purchased. The internet erupted. This wasn't a service. This wasn't cloud computing. This was hardware sitting in a product you owned, held hostage behind a paywall. BMW quietly abandoned the program after the backlash, but the precedent had been set. If a car company could try to charge monthly for a seat warmer, nothing was safe. The reason every company on earth is chasing subscriptions comes down to one number: customer lifetime value. A gym that charges $30 per month earns $360 per year from every member. Most members keep paying for an average of 4.7 years. That's $1,692 per customer. But here's the secret the industry doesn't advertise. 67% of gym members never actually go. They pay month after month for a service they don't use because canceling feels harder than just absorbing the charge. This is the subscription model's dark magic. Companies don't need you to use their product. They just need you to forget to cancel. The average American now spends $924 per year on subscriptions. But when researchers asked people to estimate their subscription spending, they guessed $100 less per month than they actually paid. People are spending roughly $1,200 more per year than they think on subscriptions. That gap between perception and reality is pure profit. The tricks companies use to keep you subscribed are deliberately psychological. Free trials that auto-convert to paid plans. Cancellation flows designed to be as confusing and frustrating as possible. Amazon Prime requires multiple clicks, multiple confirmations, and multiple guilt trip screens warning you about everything you'll lose. The New York Times was fined for making it nearly impossible to cancel online. You could subscribe with one click, but canceling required a phone call during business hours. The Federal Trade Commission proposed new rules in 2023 requiring companies to make cancellation as easy as sign up. The fact that the federal government had to intervene tells you everything about how broken the system became. Companies weren't earning loyalty, they were engineering inertia. But something is starting to crack. Consumer frustration with subscriptions is reaching a tipping point that mirrors other corporate disasters we've covered on this channel. In 2024, subscription cancellation rates hit record highs. The average American canceled 2.4 subscriptions over the past year, the highest number ever recorded. A new category of apps emerged specifically designed to help people find and cancel forgotten subscriptions. Trim, Truebill, and Rocket Money built entire businesses around the fact that people are drowning in charges they don't remember authorizing. Rocket Money alone helped users cancel over $500 million in unwanted subscriptions, $500 million in charges that people were paying but didn't want. That's not a business model, that's an extraction scheme. The backlash is getting louder. When Adobe announced a price increase in 2024, the internet exploded with the same fury we've seen destroy other brands. Users called it corporate greed. Professionals threatened to switch to free alternatives. Affinity, a competitor offering one-time purchase software, saw downloads spike by over 500% in a single week. The message was unmistakable. Consumers were done being milked. The right to repair movement is attacking subscription hardware directly. Legislation in multiple states now requires companies to let consumers fix their own products without paying for software access. The European Union passed sweeping regulations targeting subscription traps, dark patterns, and deceptive cancellation practices. Governments worldwide are starting to treat aggressive subscription tactics the way they treat predatory lending. And here's what the subscription economy isn't prepared for. The math is starting to work against them. When every company charges a subscription, the total cost becomes unbearable. Your phone plan, your streaming services, your music, your cloud storage, your fitness app, your meditation app, your news subscriptions, your productivity software, your car features, your printer ink, your home security. Add them up and the average household is bleeding $200, $300, sometimes $400 a month on subscriptions alone. That's a second car payment going to companies for services people barely use. Consumer debt in America hit $17.7 trillion in 2024. Credit card balances reached all-time highs, and every month subscriptions silently drain accounts while people struggle to make rent. There's a breaking point where consumers stop absorbing the cost and start making choices. We've seen this before. Streaming services pushed prices too high, and piracy exploded to 216 billion visits. Gillette lectured their customers and lost $350 million. Every time companies push past the line of what customers will tolerate, the correction is swift and brutal. The subscription economy isn't going to collapse overnight. It's too profitable, too entrenched, too deeply wired into how modern business operates. But the cracks are showing. The cancellation rates are climbing. The regulatory pressure is building. The consumer rage is real. Companies that treat subscriptions as a way to deliver genuine, ongoing value will survive. Companies that use subscriptions to trap customers into paying for things they already own, things they don't use, things they can't escape. Those companies are building the same house of cards that streaming services built. And we know how that story ends. The fundamental rule of business hasn't changed in 1,000 years of commerce. You have to give people something worth paying for. The moment you stop earning the money and start extracting it, your customers will find alternatives. They always do. The subscription economy is a $275 billion bet that consumers will keep paying forever. History says that's a bet no company has ever won. What subscriptions have you canceled? Which ones are worth keeping? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown of corporate greed in action, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of capital legends. And if you think the subscription trap is bad, wait until you see what we're covering next. We think you'll love it. Click here to watch.